Hello and welcome back to Indieventure, the podcast all about the wonderful world of indie games. My name is Liam Richardson and I'm joined as ever by my two festive co-hosts, Rebecca Jones.
Hello.
And Rachel Watts.
Hello.
Hello, both of you. How you doing?
Not too bad.
Festive, like you said.
Yeah.
Full of Christmas cheer.
Yeah.
The cat is actively biting my hand. Great way to start the podcast. Well, the cat attacks me. So this week we're returning to a topic we began last year, where we're going to revisit 2025 and talk about what it was like for indie games. Just a general broad view of the year that was, talking about some of the biggest news stories of the year related to indie games, talk about the industry in general, and of course talking about the games that were part of the conversation, or dominated the conversation rather. So I think we should just get into it.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
there's a lot to talk about.
Let's do it. So this year, in terms of the wider industry, has been a bit of it's been another sour one, really, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I
think that's
fair to say.
A generous yet fair description, yeah.
I was looking through a list of things that have happened this year, and I couldn't find much in terms of big cultural touch points, which I think is maybe indicative of just what the modern media landscape is like. But I mean, we are coming off 3 years of massive industry layoffs. There were less layoffs this year than the previous 2 years, but I think the effects are very much still being felt. I think it was 5,000 industry layoffs this year compared to 10,000 plus from the previous year, which is disgusting. But obviously just the absolute brain drain from the industry has been continuing. And I would probably say the two biggest indie events of this year, and I'd be curious to see if you two agree with this, is that I think Blueprints was maybe the surprise indie breakthrough in terms of just cultural conversation back in April. That game sort of felt like it permeated a little bit more than many of us expected it to. And then Silksong, Hollow Knight Silksong, finally came out in September. It made a huge impact. People played that and spoke about it for 4 days, which was about 3 days longer than people talk about games now. So do you agree that those are probably the two biggest indie highlights of the year, or do you think there's a few there that I might have missed out?
I think that, for one, I'm glad that you brought up Blueprints, because I have no idea how much I was just in it. But if the person, of the three of us, the one who dropped off at first to say it was actually... It feels more objective when you say it. So, okay, I'm happy to go along with that because you just confirmed the reality that I want to be true. But I feel like it means more coming from you. Yeah, I mean, I think it's once again demonstrative where we draw the line when we talk about indies and double A's, because obviously if you're talking about the double A space as well, and where I think Claire Obscure has been another big kind of came out of nowhere. But I feel like it's one of those where, because it was always on the ambiguous end of double A, it kind of got absorbed more into the triple A conversation as it became apparent that it was actually going to be one of the biggest games of the year, in a way that Blueprints and Silksong didn't. And part of me wonders how much that is team size, which I think is a factor, obviously, in the fact that it did have a lot of very well-known creators working on it, especially in you've seen the actors who are now doing a lot for actors in the industry, which is fantastic as well. But yeah, in terms of team size, my one worry is always that visual presentation is an element, and because it has more 3D high-end rendered graphics, that will always be one of the things that causes one game from the kind of double A space to fall into the triple A side, and another game from double A space to fall in the indie side. So that's always a reservation I have, and I think it's worth kind of taking a moment to acknowledge that, even though probably we're not going to talk a lot about Claire Obscure today, it's it did kind of come from that ambiguous space, and probably is going to be this year's big, the game that is remembered a lot about this year. Obviously, Blueprints, personally loved it. Like I say, can't be objective about it because of how strongly I feel still about it, even though I finished it 4 months ago. And I actually finished it 4 months ago. And yeah, Silksong, it's finally out. I am absolutely unqualified to speak on Silksong. I'll leave that to the rest of the group.
Yeah, I basically agree. I think, as much as I like Claire Obscure, I'm happy to not chat too much about this episode. Like you were saying, Rebecca, I think, more time can be given to other chats.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, totally. Yeah, Blueprints 100%, and same with Silksong. But like you said, again, very short-lived. These attention spans of people.
Everything has been. In fact, it was something happened right before we came to record that I wanted to talk about, and now feels like the moment to maybe bring up. Was I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers, Gab Smolders. She put up a 30-minute indie horror let's play today, and I was like, that's perfect. That's exactly I can watch it while I digest my dinner before we come to record. And at the end of the episode, she was like, this episode went up today, so this is the 4th of December we're recording. And she said, this game actually came out quite a while ago. And I'm like, maybe 2023 or something. And she was like, yeah, it was Halloween. And I was like, she's not wrong though, is the thing. That is the pace at which the conversation around almost every game this year has happened. She's right on the money. It was my expectation. It was a game called, let me just see if I can look it up real quick. I want to make sure I get it right because it was actually really good. It sounds like it's going to be really bog standard horror, but bear with me. It's called Don't Look at Grandma.
It
does
like, sound.
I would have overlooked it completely if it wasn't a half-hour thing. I could have. Honestly, though, for saying it's half hour, it's $5 or £4.29 on Steam. It does a couple of things that are kind of cool with the concept, which is obviously quite a well-worn concept. I would say it's well worth a small amount of money and half an hour of anyone's time. And but she was making the point, and I did agree. It's something like that just completely disappeared, right?
Yeah.
Even to horror specialists, this horror game that came out 6 weeks ago just did not make a dent.
I can imagine being into that and entrenched in indie horror. There's just the amount of games that come out in that space is ridiculous.
Oh, it is. That's why I watch a lot of people who curate it specifically so I can try and keep an eye on what is cool in that space. Because there is just so much. It's it's like with NSFW games, it's you're trying to find the top 10% that's actually quirky and interesting as well, right? But yeah, I was really surprised because it was for its cost and its time, it is just it does a couple of cool things, but nothing like that can penetrate the kind of conversation at the moment because it's all just so fast paced.
To just throw a stat at you, based on what you're saying, this year so far, on December 4th, 18,579 games have released on Steam.
Just on Steam?
Wow.
It's 300 a week or something, right? Isn't it something so wild?
But out of those, only 1,147 have 500 plus reviews.
Wow, it just speaks to so many different factors of making indie games.
Right,
so
absolutely.
many different factors, right? Just the vast... So I was going to ask a question about what were the trends that defined indies this year. And we asked this question last year, and I thought it was a really interesting topic for discussion. Last year, we said that it was the year of puzzle games and retro PS1 style horror games. I would propose that for me, the biggest trend I've really noticed this year, and this has been a thing that's been going on for a long time, this isn't a new thing, but it's felt very prevalent this year, is that just sheer volume is what I've really noticed this year. Is that I think because of a rapidly shrinking games media landscape and a general sense that people aren't as excited by video games anymore, I sort of get this general sense of malaise from people who play video games, especially those probably the more casual players, that the more exploitative and expensive these things become, sort of the less interested people are in it as a hobby. I don't know. I just sort of feel like that might be one of the reasons why things are vanishing from the collective consciousness seemingly straight away. And just that feels to be the overwhelming sense. There's so much stuff. It's almost hard to really pin down what was the narrative of this year. I don't know whether you two agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair assessment. I think it's that there is the sense that I've had is absolutely that volume, like you say. It's also the fact that the years kind of bleed into each other as well. It's harder and harder, not just because of the enormous backlogs of games that everyone has now, because realistically, between us, we play a lot of games, and I'm I maybe finished 20 or 30 games a year, and that's a lot, and I still have not made a dent in the last 5 years of games I've wanted to play, right? And I feel like that's the same for everybody pretty much. And then the fact that, you know, games get delayed into next year, you still have the games from last year. There are games that released into early access, and so you kind of miss the 1.0 launch, and then games that do like a major update the following year that feels like content completion, but then do you go back for it? And it's just, it is like overwhelming. And it's like, I'm really glad that people, especially in the indie space, get to just make their art and express themselves. And like, you know, there is no framing that as a bad thing. I think it would be really disingenuous and like just not at all what I would want to say that shouldn't be the case. But at the same time, it does have this like weird feeling of like, in terms of an industry, in terms of like something that is people are trying to do this to make money and to make a living as well as to express themselves, that can't be healthy. In terms of the amount of consumption and the amount of work that goes into making something, if you have an expectation of return on that, then that can't be good. That can't be good for the producer. The consumer is like overwhelmed with the massive amount of choice. And like, that shouldn't be bad, but mix it up with the demands of late stage capitalism and it somehow becomes quite daunting, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I just feel like from a critic point of view, I feel like when I was writing about games maybe 2020, 2019, 18, I felt like I had a really good handle on indie games. I felt like, for me personally, I played all the indie games that came out in a year. That's quite a lot, but I truly believe that I did that. And I just think the last couple of years, that kind of authority that I used to have on games in the indie space, because there's so many releasing and there's so many micro communities and like microcosms of different aspects of like indie games, the sheer volume is overwhelming. And now I'm finding that I don't have a firm grasp on like a lot of the year's best indie games, or like more will slip through my personal net of what I want to play, and my, just even as like a critic, and like what I can firmly say was like, these are the best games of the year, or these are the trends. Like, it's such, on the one hand, it's great to see so many. It's weird because like I feel like making a game is gotten as easy as it's ever been. Yeah. But marketing and selling your game has gone infinitely harder. Yes. So it's like sides of the same coin where anyone can make a game these days, but making a living off it, nah. Yeah. No. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a big nebulous blob, which is good and bad.
Yeah. Yes.
Which one?
No, absolutely. I think I read something today. I've been reading a lot of stuff today that's probably going to come up. I read something today. It was like talking about how within games media, there is just not enough capacity to cover nearly like the amount of indies that are coming out, and saying, well, how can people be saying that like indies are going to be the thing that like saves the games industry when all these, you know, AAA studios that have been investing heavily in like really bad idea technology that's not going to pay off, like AI and that crap, sort of when that collapses, indies are going to save the industry. But how can that happen if we just don't have the capacity to really talk about it critically or like advertise, market it, as you say? And I think that that's when it comes into the point of like, probably financially, indie games are not going to be the thing that saves the games industry. You kind of have to at that point separate the idea of the financial giant that is the biggest entertainment form on the planet right now and the artistry of the medium. Right? Because like, you know, if everyone makes the weird little indie if literally everyone makes the weird little indie that they want to make, then artistically, fantastic. No one's going to make any money off of it. But at a certain point, those do become two separate conversations. And yeah, I'm a little worried about the crash as someone who's still employed in this in this rapidly shrinking games media, which has not been at all immune from the continued shrinkage of the games industry as a whole. But as an artistic form that I can just enjoy, like, yeah, that will, you know, continue as it has done for as long as people have been able to program their own games, right? So it's kind of two separate conversations that kind of get conflated a lot, I think.
Yeah, and that's a fair point.
It's almost like you, Liam, highlighting a solo developer who made a very successful indie game and a very well-known indie developer making a sequel. That kind of, I do think Blueprints and Hades 2 is like two really good examples of where we're finding ourselves within the industry, and like why did Supergiant decide to make a sequel, even though they're known for not making sequels?
Yeah.
And why did this indie game that had zero marketing, no one knew about it, pop off? And I think they're both really interesting conversation points. Positive, well, maybe just interesting in general, if we wanted to be a bit more positive. But at the same time, yeah, I don't know if 2025 onwards, I would tell someone it would be a good time to pursue game development in as a solo.
Yeah.
Like, I think in terms of like a hobby,
career, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know whether I could, tell someone like, oh, do you think I could make it? No.
Yeah.
Which is sad, but that's honest, brutal truth. Unless you're a Blueprints or a Bolex Pit or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, we'll get into that a bit. What about you, Liv? Have you had noticed any trends apart from those two? And Claire Obscure?
I feel like indie games are longer. That's been a big thing for me this year. You noticed that trend last year, and I feel like this year I've played a lot of like 20-hour indies, which is quite rare. It's been nice, but it feels like indie games, maybe I guess the development teams are maturing, or there's just, we're talking about this democratization and how easy it is to make art now in the game space, that it's just easier to make longer things and to elaborate on your ideas. But I do feel like I played a lot of games this year that, like, I'm still playing through Seance of Blake Manor at the moment. I'm like 10 hours in, I'm like, oh, there's a lot in here.
Yeah.
Like, no stone left unturned, right? And I think that's been quite nice. But that's just been maybe the one trend that came to mind. Other than that, it's a good thing. It's almost a good thing in some ways that I haven't been able to find trends this year, because it feels like I've played such a diverse selection of games and I feel very, very enriched by that. But there's nothing I can particularly point my finger to and be like, this was the year of X. And that might be another issue with there being so many, maybe.
I was actually thinking about longer games earlier when we came up with the sort of running question list for this, and I thought about like what is the, and like Blueprints, and like this is definitely a me thing, and it's a thing that the listeners have pointed out to me, and I then realised belatedly about myself, was that I tend to play quite long games. I play games that are either one sitting or 200 hours. That is just how I engage with a lot of things, and like Blueprints for me has stood out partly because it just did have that really long tail. And I wonder if that has been, actually, maybe you're right, and that the trend of the year has been indie games, AAAs, AAAs, whatever, that you could come back to for quite a long time. Maybe that is the thing that, because I mean, I don't know enough about Hades 2 or Silksong to know sort of what the average playtime is on those, and I feel like it could be really variable depending on your skill level.
Like 30, 40 hours?
It's like 30, 40 hours,
Whereas Blueprints is pretty reliably like 120-ish hours, I think, to finish. There's not a lot of flex in that comparatively, I don't think.
But that is quite unusual for an indie game to be over 100 hours.
Absolutely. I mean, it's my longest playtime on Steam, which is where I play most of my indies. It's taken over a couple of other quite chunky games with a lot of replayability. I feel like maybe that's what has been kind of needed to kind of overcome. Because I mean, there's been a lot of games that I've played this year, things that did initially get quite a bit of buzz, like Tiny Bookshop, for example, which is about 25 hours, 30 hours to complete. And that had its moment. I thought that was getting up into the Game of the Year lists for about 2 weeks. And then like everything else, it kind of petered off. And I'm like, maybe 30 hours just isn't enough in the landscape that we're looking at now, that seems to favour these really quite long and quite time-consuming, but in a good way, games. I don't know. But then again, it's a bias of mine because I like long games. So again, as with just loving Blueprints in and of itself, I can't rely on my own observation to be like completely objective on that.
I don't know whether like I do think indies have gotten longer, but I think for me as well, like a really obvious, maybe not so obvious trend of this year is sequels. I just think there's an emphasis in the indie space where once it was to, a space known for making unique games, there's been a bunch of sequels, one being Silksong, Hades 2, Citizen Sleeper 2, a bunch of smaller titles like Strange Antiquities and stuff. And I don't think that just comes down to, we have more of this world we want to explore. Like, I do think sequels in a in a year where marketing indie games has not become easy, Steam has just become a cesspit of just, even Steam themselves, just really this like blank wall that you just shout out if you have a problem with your game or uploading, this monolith. I think for indie developers, there's a safe bet in following up with a sequel instead of, and I think as we go into 2026, my prediction is we're going to see more DLCs, more sequels because of this security. We've seen this with something like Devolver do it constantly. Cult of the Lamb has had so many fucking updates because that's Devolver's biggest IP and they want to keep like expanding on that universe. And I just think if you're smart and you've got something that hit off with a bunch of people, something like Peak is going to keep putting up new biomes and stuff. I think we're going to see a lot more games which have updates or DLC, like another one, Golden Idol. Rise of the Golden Idol is my favorite game this year. Possibly the DLCs are going to be in my top games this year because it's just like, why risk making something new, unfortunately, when you have something good, something you do want to explore more artistically. I just think from a business perspective, that's fucking smart. And I just think we're going to see more of that going into 2026.
You don't need to market a game that already has an audience, right?
So, I mean
that's,
you're talking about
new.
That's the what's the AAA playbook, right?
Yeah.
So is that what's happening? Is indie games, the established publishers and developers are now growing to the point where they are starting to understandably go through the same pattern that AAA publishers have gone through over the last 20, 30 years? Maybe.
Is this where we start talking about like quadruple I and like single I and
No, absolutely not.
Maybe there's something here about just how eventually you this is kind of what happened just in games in general, right? Like you started off as bedroom coders and then you eventually become Electronic Arts.
Yeah.
Is that just going to happen with Devolver? And is it less that indie games remain indie and actually there's a pipeline that people move through? I don't know.
I feel like this is something that we kind of talk about whenever we've gone over the topic of what success looks like for indie developers. I feel like this is the one that we kind of touch on where it's like, do you become AAA with success, or do you how do you hit that perfect sweet spot where you're still in creative control, you can make a living, but you're not kind of making the sweeping compromises to ensure that everything like grows in exponential growth of your business.
I don't think it's possible.
It's really hard, if not impossible, for anyone to do that in any industry. So, yeah,
you have to be somewhat keyed into the market. Like you have to if you want to live.
100%. I mean, did you see the news this week about Yacht Club games? Because they've delayed Nina the Hollower until next year, and they said like this is make or break for us as a studio. And like Shovel Knight sold so many copies. It's like a huge indie success story. Yep. And now their immediate follow-up, the entire business hangs on that. Like,
well, isn't that interesting? Because up until Mina, it was all Shovel Knight sequels, prequels, different genres. And as soon as they do something new, and even then it wasn't too much of a risk. Like it's an old school Game Boy, like old school Game Boy-esque. Is it not a Metroidvania? I don't know.
It's like a Zelda, like a Zelda, like a Zelda Game Boy game. Yeah,
it's not exactly the most riskiest genre, but it's not. Yeah. I don't know. And I enjoyed that demo. But if for me now, because of the amount of games, if something isn't very popular, specific to my very unique tastes, I'm not going to play it.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
I think many people feel the same.
Yeah.
So 100%. It's just a shame, but like I remember being surprised when they came up with that and being like, "This is a great game." My indie senses were tingling though.
Well,
I was
they do have that 3D Shovel Knight seemingly still in production, but I think they said recently that they moved all of the team members onto Mina to get that over the line.
Interesting. Okay.
They do have that traditional sequel, expanded whatever project in their back pocket, but it's such a shame because we're talking about this and all of this is very valid and true, but also I think this year has been a great year for indie games, to answer the question in the title of the podcast.
Good point.
This is
for me personally, I think this has been one of the best years for games I've had in a long time. For my specific tastes. Yeah, I finished like 40 games this year, and some of those have been over 50 hours long. Like,
you have been gaming this year. Capital G gaming.
I do be gaming. I do be gaming
this year.
Liam be gaming. But like, it's so wild to exist in this like pocket where I'm like, I'm eating so well just while everything's on fire around you. It's very, very strange.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the quality of the indie games that we've seen this year have not at all been dented by the, as you say, the trash fire of the industry and just the world in general around it. I have really enjoyed pretty much everything I've played this year. It's not, the fact that I had to keep like switching my focus and that I've struggled to stay on one thing is because there were so many good things to check out, not because there was a problem with any. I mean, that has been, I think on a personal level, I would say that like this year was the year that I kind of fell out with AAAs a little bit, with a couple of exceptions. And for me, almost every great game I've played this year has been like solidly from the indie space. That's been my experience of 2025. And it's interesting because like 2023, I think, was like everything. We were eating so well in like every single part of the spectrum. There were some great AAAs, great AAAs, great indies. Last year, I was just like floating through a lot of, it was mostly remasters for me last year, and that kind of like skewed it towards AAA a little bit, with a few, again, really cool exceptions. But yeah, for me this year, it's just been like, I have been loving all of the indie stuff that's been coming out. I think the problem, if anything, I think is just that the conversation has been like overwhelmed. I talk about this at work a lot as well. Overwhelmed by the fact that all of these big AAA franchises have come out with real duds, with, or just like, just perfectly fine iterations on the concept at best, or like kind of shoddy follow-ups at worst. But the conversation is still on that, and not on like the 10 amazing indies that you could have played in the time that you spent realizing that the new Call of Duty was a bit crap. It's just, I don't mind. I will talk down Call of Duty at any opportunity. Anyway, yeah, so that's kind of been my experience. The only kind of regret I have is that I spent, because I kind of have to for work, more time on those AAAs rather that kind of weren't doing it for me as much as I would have loved to have spent more time just looking at the really cool indies. But again, like, if you want to talk about the pressures of working in the industry, that is one of them. That's one of the trade-offs is kind of having to stick with the kind of dull AAAs a lot more and put aside, sadly, some of the cool indies. But yeah, it's been, I'm sure there have been, surely there will have been bad indies, but I haven't seen very many of them compared to the good ones.
I think 2024 was one of the strongest years for indies. I've liked this year, but personal preferences last year was
absolutely
stacked.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed a lot of games this year, but last year I played more, I enjoyed more. Last year I had like a top 10. This year, if I'm being really strict with myself, I probably won't have a top 10, like maybe a top 7 or 8. If I'm comparing it to last year, I just, like, my top 5 is solid, but I just think last year was stronger as much as I've enjoyed this year. But that, I don't think that says anything. That just says my personal preference. But
this is definitely a preference thing for me as well. I think there's been a lot of cute narrative stuff, or not even cute, but like kind of, this. I'm aware that it's the area which I tend to occupy, which has been very well served in indies this year, and that will skew like my perception of it. So that's the good. I like that we all bring slightly different tastes to the table when we talk about. I'm sure that will be reflected in next week's, or will it be next week for the listeners? In the next episode, anyway.
I think it's like 3-4 days after this goes live.
Yeah, it really is.
The episode,
Liam's had a banging year. Rebecca's been okay, and I've just been a bit.
Yeah.
Which is the opposite of last year, where
we've all moved on, haven't we? Like,
which is classic. Like, I feel like Rebecca was like, I haven't really cared much for this year. I was like, I've enjoyed some things, and you were like, best year ever. So it's, and then I think the year before it was.
I was like, everything's fantastic, and then
and I was maybe at the bottom, and you're in the middle. Yeah, so it's
what the fuck.
Well, I think that demonstrates that we are the 3 perfect people to be heading up this podcast, because we will always kind of balance each other out. So
fuck yeah, that is so
couldn't
funny.
have said it better myself. So last year we spoke about the breakthrough indies that seem to linger a bit longer in the memory, the Balatro, my beloved Balatro.
The Balatro in the room. Is that just what we say now?
I was thinking about the Balatro in the room. It's right behind me, isn't it? But I was wondering what the games were this year. So I've written down here Silksong, which obviously was a huge, years in the making, right? The fact that kind of dropped 3-4 weeks after it was announced was wild. Hades 2 coming out of early access, to not as much of an impact as the original, but it still felt like a bit of a moment. Peak is maybe one of the biggest indie games of the
Peak.
year. Yeah. For just absolutely just like capturing the zeitgeist, getting people involved. There's maybe a conversation we can have here about maybe people craving social interaction again this year.
I would love 100%. Love to get into that.
Yeah.
Co-op games. I don't want games where I have to fight. I just want more friendly, approachable co-op. That's what I want. And we're heading in that direction. Like Big Walk coming up next year. Let's go.
Nice.
I just want to walk and yap. And that's what Peak is. Minus booing your friends off the side of mountains aside. I just want more casual gaming. I don't want GTFO. I don't want... was it Fire? What the one that kind of flopped by the Control one?
The Remedy one. Firebreak is what it's called.
FBC Firebreak.
I don't want that. I want to chat and yap with my besties. Yeah. And that's what's coming with Big Walk. I'm so fucking excited. And Peak.
The genre is called friendslop, right? That is what it's been doing.
Fuck that.
Tongue in cheek, right? I think the person who came up with that was trying to be funny about it, but it's unfortunately, I'm not going to say media literacy is dead because we're going to ban that phrase on this podcast.
I hate it.
Apparently the meme that birthed friendslop says, friendslop, no hard win conditions. Winning just means you get to play together. The people you play with are the main focus. Gameplay is just the medium. A friend has win conditions.
Okay, all right. This is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Some examples of friendslop: Lethal Company, content warning, Peak.
All the biggest games of the year.
That's what I was going to say to you guys, though. It's like Lethal Company, we played a bit together. Content warning, we never did manage to get together to play, but it's like there's a very clear line to me through Lethal Company, maybe Phasmophobia before actually, and then Lethal Company, and then Content warning,
Phasmo.
And now Peak. And I'm just like, what? Is it just my imagination, or is Peak kind of stuck around a bit longer? And is it maybe because, I don't know, could it be like the removal of horror elements, or is it something to do with like a high production value sort of thing?
It's funny as well.
Yeah.
It's funny as fuck. Phasmo, Lethal Company, and the other one are all really funny. The interactions in it.
Yeah.
You just want to... It's funny because with the other ones, it's not against each other. You can't really be cheeky and mischievous to each other. In Peak, you absolutely can.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you throw a frisbee at someone and they just get punched off the side of it. Like, it understands the kind of interactions we want with each other. Like, we crave. We crave the mischief and the chaos. And I think in Phasmo and the other ones... Like, as much as I've put so many hours into Phasmo, less so Lethal Company, but I did really, really enjoy it. But it's just that was fun, but the amount of like fuckery you could do to your friends was minimal. You had to make it your own. Peak was like, no. The fuckery starts here, day one, on the beach. Yeah. And I think that's so funny.
Yeah.
I think that's why.
It was a really good point. You're so right. Like
a bit of fuckery.
Yeah, you can't troll very hard in any of the others. Like content warning, you can maybe stand and film your friend while they're getting eaten, and that's like, that's not that trolly compared to.
Shut your friend in the house in Phasmo.
Yeah,
like hold the door shut as they try and get out.
I wonder if there's something about it being the more fractured and splintered the internet becomes, and we become as a society as well. There's something about a game that is so much about just cooperation and just providing a third space for people, where online third spaces are rapidly disintegrating before our eyes. I think
that's so true.
Yeah,
a chill place where you're not going to get jump scared and you don't need to hold a gun. You're just climbing a mountain. Like,
girl, Minecraft discovered that so many years ago. Minecraft were like, we like creepers and we like the exploration side of Minecraft. You know what also? People just love going into a server and building shit together. Well, they fucking knew what was up.
As much as people, and Roblox I don't want to invoke its name, is the most cursed thing ever. I do not agree with it as a concept, but you mainly just hang out with people. If you think about the experiences on there, Grow a Garden, which was the biggest game of the year probably, and fashion one that everyone loves. Like, these are experiences that you don't get. Yeah. Yes. The fact you can download that, hang with your friends. Yeah. But do you know what I mean? There's something about these digital spaces that you're replicating that, I think.
Pure, oh god!
I've just realised as well one thing that Peak does do, which the other ones we mentioned didn't, and that's when you're a ghost, you can still talk to the living players, which kind of removes that.
That's a really good point.
This is also such a good point. Yeah. It's the board game idea of like when someone is booted out of a board game, like Monopoly, fuck Monopoly, you can't play anymore.
Yeah.
What kind of board game or game in general that is wild. So you're absolutely right. And it's like you have a role and like, it's just smart. It understands how people want to. It's the same with, I didn't play Split Fiction, but I just feel like they understand like how couples want to play and how friends want to play. And it's 100%. Not nice. We want a bit of,
You've got it. You've got it. Goofs and gaffs. And then a little bit of
gaffs.
Yeah.
Goofs,
you get that perfect narrative, right? Like we talked about Ed succeeding when we played it last together. Like we had a few goofs, we had a few laughs. Do you know what I mean? Like we died and we carried on. We had like that drama, but that's what you want. You want a narrative where you can sit at the end of the day when you go to bed and think, oh, I had fun with my friends tonight and we like achieved something. We weren't like raiding in Destiny. We weren't like getting a good KD in COD. Like, it's like, we had a few chats because there were some downtimes and then we did like some exciting things. And I think there's just so much potential for that.
Those feelings you're describing, I think you can. I'm with Rebecca, fuck Call of Duty, but you can get that. But
100%.
This casual aspect for everyone when it comes to Peak, and so like me and my friends are discussing. Me and my one friend, we play Peak together, but the third part of our trio, she doesn't. So she's always kind of like watched us play. But the moment when a game comes out and it's a little bit easier than Peak, in Peak, if there was just like a ghost mode, a third player could start off with, I would absolutely get her to play that because there's this element of like anyone can play. And so as soon as Big Walk comes out, literally next year, like me and my friend who games and my friend who doesn't, we're all going to play it together. And like, there's no barrier for entry. There's no bar. Like she can just jump in and just like try and work out the perspective of like the very dad thing of like walking, like looking at the ground. Like it's going to be great. I can't wait and you're right. It's because these online spaces just don't exist. Yeah. No. I don't want to be in our Discord and WhatsApp chat. I want to boot her off a mountain. That's all I want.
Exactly. Yeah, having fun online. It's like the best thing about it, right?
What a concept.
Yeah.
I fucking love it. Oh, that's a positive thing. Yeah. Now we should talk about all that. No.
I want you to know that in the running list I keep of all the games we talk about in an episode, I have included Roblox, but I've put an angry emoji face next to it. So I just wanted to
love it.
I love that.
Yeah. Incredible. Oh, Peak. Love that for them. Love that for them as a studio. It was a game jam game.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
What the fuck? You just never know.
You don't.
And I just And Yeah, great. Fucking amazing. Awesome.
It's probably the nicest success story of the year in many ways, I'd say.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Of just like good vibes all the way down. And I think it's just fantastic for that reason. Yeah.
So if we have, Blueprints and Hades 2, I think Peak is another great example. Maybe it's more the Blueprints kind of like surprise hit, but on like the kind of scale of what we're seeing. I was trying to like visualize it as like a
I like that.
As a scale. Yeah. I do feel like it belongs somewhere there. Like maybe more Blueprints, but like a little spider leg off the spider diagram side off from Blueprints.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because the two companies that made it were Aggro Crab, who did the Office one.
The Office one.
Oh, no, yeah.
Oh, it was so good. Shit, I'll look it up.
Going Under?
Yes, girl. And the other one, they did another one. The Crab's
Treasure.
Yes.
And then the other company, I should really have Googled what who made Peak.
So sorry. So sorry. We have just talked about it very positively, though.
Landfall. Landfall are a huge company that make games like Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, which was a huge game back in the day.
I used to know that.
Cluster Truck and things like this, like games that were huge.
Did not know that.
But
cool.
Yeah, that meeting of minds, I think, was such a smart idea for them. But I would probably say on the continuum of Blueprints on the one side and Hades 2 on the other, I wonder if Peak sort of sits in the middle. Because it was a surprise hit, but by established indie studios.
Yeah, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Chuck it in the middle.
Yeah.
But like in terms of like the big games, I think those. Did you have any more? We got to Peak and then we kind of just started.
Well, we've spoke about this a lot over the last few episodes, and I'm sorry for once again saying the word megabonk, but I do think there's like this small pocket of games that are just like huge. Megabonk, Schedule 1, Scandal noted, Escape from Duckov. I don't know if Ball X Pit fits in this. It sort of feels like it's like games that like maybe Clover Pit's one of them, like games that like became huge, but like not in the traditional way that like obviously we were like trained and belonged to. Like the fact that I only heard about Escape from Duckov when Eurogamer wrote an article about it like 2 months after it was big, and we're like, oh, we finally checked this out and we see why it's big. And it's sort of like these games that just like explode. And normally, like, Escape from Duckov, I think it's from China. It's a Chinese game. Like games that come from like not the traditional quote unquote sort of like regions that Western media outlets will cover games from. Mm-hmm. These things just sort of come out of nowhere, and then like it's sort of like they're massive by the time the media notice them. That's happening quite a lot these days.
Quite big streamer games. I know some of them were. They must have been, because there's literally no other way I would assume. I've all seen them all over YouTube. Those three that you mentioned. Maybe less the gambling one, which actually I really fucking enjoyed. But I definitely the other ones. Clover Pit. I've definitely seen the other ones on. So that might be. I mean, that's a huge thing indies have to kind of like take into consideration now. The streamers. We've all we said this last year and the year before, but that is something that will blow my mind. Like the amount of like, I don't know, like the way that indie marketing has to take this huge monolith of and it's just, how do you even approach that? What do you even do? Like, I don't even know how you would. I assume it's like trying to get press to cover your game. I don't know. Like, I
mean, you don't want press, like, ultimately, and I've heard, I think it was maybe Mike Rose, who's the guy who runs No More Robots. I think he said before, like, you kind of reach out to press because it's like the prestigious part of the industry.
Sure.
But if you want your game to be successful, you try and get YouTubers to play it.
Yes. And that does not surprise me at all.
No. Because that's been the case for 10 years now, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like,
at least.
It boggles my mind. I'm just old. It boggles my mind. I love it. Well,
I'd maybe argue, like, we're probably grandfathered in from being games media people in this podcast. Like, I think probably a lot of PR give us codes and stuff because we're sort of like, people know us for what we do now, I think, on this. But, I think they're sort of like, well, we want the big, these YouTube channels with 8 million subs, and then we'll give the podcast it because there's a bit of prestige to it. But
yes,
and the turnover that content creators are playing. Like, I feel like writers you have to, like, they have to play a game for like a week and then write about it. But like content creators,
you record yourself playing it for an hour.
Gab Smulders is probably constantly looking for games to fill her schedule with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I just feel like indie horror does that. The churn of that.
Also wonder, like, tangentially related maybe, what has happened to Steam Next Fest this year? Because I feel like that was a lot of how you, like, the cycle, the role of getting, especially streamers, but also games media to look at games was by Steam Next Fest. Yes. It just feels like it's not happened this year. Like, I feel like all of us individually went, I don't have time for Steam Next Fest this year, but I also feel like most of the content creators I follow on YouTube have kind of just stopped going quite so, like, I feel like people are still playing demos on stream, but it's more, the dev reached out to me and asked, would I like to play this on stream because I've enjoyed their games in the past, not, I found this at Steam Next Fest,
I didn't play a single demo this year, but it's mainly from a time perspective, and it's from I don't know. I feel like since we've done this, I feel like I normally just wait for the game to come out and experience it
but
firsthand.
at the same time, as we said, with all the games that have actually come out, like finding time to play demos is just daunting as well.
Yeah, there is that. How about you, Rachel?
I just find that the demos are around for longer. Like with Steam Next Fest, I'm
true.
nah, these will be around until after the fest, and a lot of them are, which I like. I wouldn't like it if Steam was like, no, only for Next Fest. Like, I like the fact that, like, if I'm like, shit, is this going to be around after Next Fest? I look on their Blue Sky. Yeah, it's going to be around. It's going to be a permanent addition to our Steam page. I'm like, good, I will get around to my own time.
But that is quite a big shift in how games are marketed and how, you know, the conversation around indies happens. And by the way, I've played 3 demos this year, but down from about 20 odd that I would usually play over several Next Fests, and, you know.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Like that.
And also, they were all games that then came out and I played the full version. So it wasn't like a lot of sampling. It was games that I was already excited for and wanted to play a little bit of before the full release. So yeah, that's just an interesting, like, it feels like Steam Next Fest has maybe just, I don't know, lost its relevance, but morphed into something else, but like in a way that I think might still be a little bit harmful to smaller indies, just because that was a way of getting your game seen. And now if it's more reliant on existing relationships with streamers and media, then that feels a bit like, again, exclusionary of the smaller, like, new people.
Is it time we talked about Steam?
Yep.
Should we talk about Steam as a platform and how completely and utterly fucked it is?
Yes.
It's getting worse every year for multiple different reasons. And you know, Steam used to be like a place where indies could be released and have hopes of getting eyes on it, on like individual releases. And now it's almost become like aggressive towards how bad it is, but how unfortunately necessary it is for you to release your game on that platform. And it is honestly like so gross, like Steam as a platform. We were talking, do we want to talk about horses?
I think it's a very good jumping off point for sure.
Indeed.
Should I quickly brief the horses?
I think so.
I think
drama at the moment.
Don't know what we're talking about. Yeah.
So there's a studio called Santa Ragione. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. They are a studio who they kind of like take on different developers and like publish their games for them. One of them is Mediterranean Inferno, which I will forever fucking go on about. They also did Milky Way Star Prince, something. They just collect a bunch of different games.
Saturnalia as well, famously.
Oh yeah, Saturnalia. So yeah, recently there's been a bit of a hullabaloo, a hubbub over a game called Horses, which in terms of content and story, you play as someone who, I think, you're working on a farm for like a summer or 2 weeks, but the kind of point of the game is that instead of farming horses, you're farming naked humans, or like you're just kind of looking after these naked humans. And the game brings up uncomfortable questions of complacency and ethics, and the way we treat people, the way we treat animals, the way we perceive human beings. It's a complex game in terms of themes. And what has happened between the studio and Steam is that it basically got delisted. It got banned. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the studio who announced Horses back in 2023, put it through Steam's systems, as in like, want to check everything is okay. Steam came back and said, no, like this violates our guidelines about adult content, which isn't really a surprise. But given how, you know, Steam's system works and there's no humans working behind anything and it's just all just horrible. So the studio were like, fine, we will change the game. I think there was one scene in particular where a little girl is quote unquote riding one of the human horses, which, you know, is a bit ugh.
Yeah.
But that's the point. So they then were like, right, we're going to change the game and then we'll go through the same process. And Steam was like, no, like that's it now. You cannot resubmit your game for us to look at. And then for the past 2 years, the studio have been like fighting what essentially is just a faceless system of like, why was our game banned? Why is this happening? We've changed this. Can we speak to someone? Then 24 hours before the game was supposed to release on the Epic Game Store, Epic again was like, no, we're not like listing the game. It got delisted. And so the situation now is that you can only play this game through GOG and itch because there's just there's restrictions on what content are allowed on those platforms is nowhere near as just confusing as Epic and particularly Steam. And so there's a conversation around this game in terms of expression in video games, like Steam as a platform, and like just the way that if you want to create material that's complex and risque, and you know, this will also play into NSFW games. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But it just highlights a lot of things in the indie space, which is, it's a problem. This is a problem. If we're making art that is supposed to like, you know,
challenge you,
question you, challenge. Why is this happening to the studio? And why did Epic 24 hours before follow the same thing? Yeah. It's just, it's an interesting example. So we should totally talk about it and why it's just, and that's totally fucked them. This game, unfortunately, now it's not on Steam and Epic. Like, of course, like everyone's, unfortunately, anything with banned or delisted, everyone's going to get interested. Yeah. So thankfully, I think they've gotten some success of GOG and itch. But censorship as well. Someone reads censorship in a game, they're like, we got to play this fucking game. So,
yeah.
But it's just, there's a large conversation here to be had. So let's get into it a bit. Was that all kind of on point?
Yeah, no, that was a very concise summary. Yeah, it was very
on point.
Very well put.
I think maybe a small bit of additional context, which I think people sometimes I think look at Steam as a faceless application and forget that it's owned by, as much as we all love our Gabe Newell memes, maybe one of the most libertarian people who's ever existed on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
This is a company that is infamous for having a quote-unquote enormous air quotes flat hierarchy structure where when they say that you can only work at Valve if you are a go-getter and you're able to have difficult conversations and you are basically always put on trial by a court of your own peers for things like peer reviews and disciplinaries. You know, the whole joke that Half-Life is never going to get made because they encourage you to move your desk to the parts of the business that interest you. This is how the entire business is operated. The business is operated by people who are so individually minded that I think during the Black Lives Matter protests in 2020, where most companies were putting out statements and were donating directly to BLM charities, Valve gave everyone an individual payment to do with what they wished. You know, this is the kind of company that Valve is. So it can be very hard to remember that, but I think it's a really important thing to remember. That's true. They think that individual freedom is important, but also their word is law, and they are not a publicly traded company either. They don't answer to stakeholders, they answer to themselves and Gabe Newell. So they're kind of unique in that way. So on the one hand, I think it's how you have this storefront that is successful, because it's been built by a very strict set of standards. But on the other hand, you have shit like this happen. The interesting thing about horses is that it is not challenging material. What if the meat we ate was human is not a unique or novel concept? I'm not trying to dismiss them. I'm just trying to say this outrage about it is bizarre. You know, there's an episode of BoJack Horseman where this is discussed. Yes. There are books about this.
There's a famous book about it, yeah.
Yeah, Tender as the Flesh, right?
Yeah.
And Epic is the same. You know, Tim Sweeney is equally as libertarian as Gabe Newell. And all, you know, just because that Valve got a bit of a win with the AI stuff the other week doesn't mean that, like, they are any different from Tim Sweeney saying that AI should be fine and everyone's a baby, whatever. So I think it's the sad thing about this is like, well, we've lifted these people up and put them as the de facto storefront over the last 20 years, knowing full well that this was what they were capable of doing and there's precedent for them doing this before. Like, sadly, this isn't a unique thing and it's going to just keep happening until there's more competition. And unfortunately, the only person who had enough money to try and compete was Epic, and everyone was really weird about it.
Yeah.
And I get it. I don't want that to be the case either. I would much prefer something like GOG, we're kind of stuck in this position, and I don't know what the answer is. Like, you know,
yes.
I think this is a good transition to the NSFW stuff. For a long time, and there still is a lot of heinous shit on Steam that is
more heinous than horses, for sure.
100% more heinous than horses.
That's what's so weird. I just, yeah. I mean, the thing that concerns me with the kind of fact that there is a little bit of a moral panic whipping up around the horses thing, even though it seems pretty cut and dried, a case of overreach of censorship. Like, even if you agree that some censorship is appropriate, I have kind of mixed feelings on that in any regard, but I wouldn't have said this tripped it in any case. But my concern is that it's a very worrying pattern of thought that kind of declares all nudity inherently sexual and all sexuality inherently deviant, and that seems to have been the entire thought process. And that is just generally in whatever medium that you're, thinking about a concern, frankly.
Yes.
It's almost the thing that kind of messes me up, and this is pure speculation, I want to make it clear, is that there is so much very deliberately sexually provocative stuff on Steam. And obviously, as we know, I engage with some of that. I engage with the 1% of that I find personally interesting. I think that most of it is quite bad, but I'm not anti it being there, if that makes sense. The thing that worries me is that it almost seems like this is so targeted because the nudity is not intended. It is intended to make a point about human sexuality. I think that's very much one of the themes of the game, but it's not intended to be titillating or gratifying. It is intended to expose how horrendous people can be in their kind of reception of their own sexuality and of other people's sexuality. And the fact that that gets put under a microscope when the clear message is don't use other people as objects in your gratification, it becomes so much more controversial than anything that you can put out that is not meant to question that, the idea that, especially because, we know this is how society tends to work, unfortunately, that especially for straight men to just have whatever they want at any time is the priority in so many of these other games, and yet it is the ones that challenge that in any way that get very struck down. And yes, I am also in quite the salty mood because
nodding. Me and Liam absolutely nodding. Girl, keep going.
Yes.
Yeah, keep going. You are the person to talk about this.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You
are. And I've been in a bit of a sore mood with Steam about this for a while because I can still access the games that I own on Steam. I can even still buy more games on Steam if I want to. It's not difficult to get around those elements of the restrictions, but I can no longer view the games I own on Steam that I have put dozens of hours into because they've decided that as a 35-year-old woman, I should not be allowed to think about sex unless I present my credit card information is quite appalling to me. So yeah, I'm in a mood with Steam, both as a consumer and as someone who cares about the industry. But I do also think, and this will be, I promise I'll let someone else talk in a second, but this is kind of the consequence of the way that, and we see it in other things as well, in other media. I'm not going to invoke some awful names, but you probably get what I'm saying. Gabe Newell, I'm sure, is not a terrible person. He seems reasonable in some respects. Maybe wouldn't agree with him on everything, but I don't think he's a monster. But when we let the fact that we want to fanboy and fangirl over an individual, walk us into a monopoly in this way, so that Epic and GOG and Itch, while they're all nice to have, Steam is the one you need if you want a successful PC launch. There's just no getting around it. There are alternatives, but they are, again, prestige rather than volume in terms of sales. That is kind of a thing that you cannot blame an individual consumer for this, but when en masse the decision is made to kind of say we want a monopoly because we think it's cool, it becomes a bit of a problem. I don't have an answer.
No, but it's if you think about how this happened, Steam was people hated it when it launched with Half-Life 2. They couldn't believe that when you bought a game on disc, you had to download something from the internet to validate it.
I remember.
But then
really?
They Amazoned it, right? They literally they were so convenient. And it became so much more convenient, at one platform, you're no longer downloading GameSpy to play online, you just got everything in one place, and it was so easy. You put credit card details in, you download it. Steam worked. And that's why the meme happened there. And then the sales, the deep discounts, they passed the savings on to us, the consumer. Like Steam sales used to be a huge event 10, 15 years ago. Like, God, they were incredible, because you could get games that came out 6 months ago for 75% off. It was wild. And that's how Gabe became this public figure. And you are right. He's a billionaire. We can't deny the fact that he's a billionaire. Valve is no more a huge company as any of these other ones that we're all saying should be taxed and all this kind of stuff that, that should be happening. But the fact that they folded so quickly with the visa restrictions early this year that saw the massive clampdown on NSFW games was so telling, right? They don't want to lose a penny, because of course they don't. Like, they don't give a shit about the artistic integrity of the games that got tarnished with the same brush as the ones that are just full cis male gratification. I just want to watch a 3D model penetrate another 3D model. I'm not yucking anyone's yum. I'm just saying, like, there's stuff out there that is saying things, and there's stuff out there that's just, for getting your rocks off. But it's just, I don't know. It's just, this is where we're at. This is society as we live in. This is a company, and like you say, unfortunately, people need to be on there.
Yeah.
Because if you want to make a profit, like we were saying earlier, if you're coming into the space to try and make a living off it, not just to make art in your spare time, if you were making a product and Amazon or Walmart weren't stocking you, you're dead in the water, right?
Yes.
So, and it's no different here.
My thought as well is that, like, this game got attention because its subject matter is provocative. How many other games, just because they feature two boys kissing, how many, like, they have to go through this shit and we just don't hear about them?
Yeah.
Like, this only got news because it was like, oh yeah, it's kind of weird and kind of like uncomfortable. Okay, but like there's probably many other games that are going through exactly the same thing, because like, oh yeah, my game about like breast cancer, she gets her tit out at one point. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, yeah, so we've talked about this before, and like NSFW and what counts as just being a queer game and what counts as being sexual and adult themed. And it's just like, I just want two girls to kiss in my game, and it's like, oh nope, can't have that.
And why is that more controversial than a game where you can rip someone's spine out of their body? That is acceptable, but two boys kissing, no, get off our platform.
Let them kiss and rip the spine out.
Let Sub-Zero and Scorpion kiss. That's what I'm saying. That is the point I make. I don't know what you two are talking about. That's the point I'm getting to.
There's no bigger sexual tension than ripping someone's spine out. They want to kiss.
I worry that we actually are there in terms of metaphor. Is that something that we should be making? Just a game that's all about the interplay of sex and violence with just violence and violence.
But like, like consumption and like eating someone as like sexual desire and sexual, like there is like a lot of like thematic meaning in like,
and now all of a sudden
wanting to kill someone.
We're almost all the way back at mouthwashing from a year ago, which is, which
was on Steam and fine.
Right?
Yeah.
A guy gets eaten. I don't think it's a spoiler at this point to say that a guy gets eaten while he's awake in that game, and like,
also there's a whole subplot about where a character gets sexually assaulted, because that is wild.
That was
there's that, and that if that is okay, because it does handle it in a very unique way. Why is this? I don't know. I do know. Yeah. We all know why.
Yeah, we all know.
But yeah, if mouthwashing, a game which, you said deals with someone with a body who's been eaten alive and a woman who gets sexually assaulted, if that is like, I don't know. I just, but it makes me, what, like, I don't know. I was going to ask, like, why? Why is Steam doing this? What is Steam's benefit from, like, I'm just speaking out loud, because like, what is the point? Because we know why some of the NSFW games, because like with the PayPal and MasterCard, absolute debacle. Certain very loud minorities being wrong about certain sex and adult content in games can pressurize, which is wild. Which is the whole what are they called? Collective
like
shout.
lobby. Oh,
was that the Aussie people who are just like?
I think so.
Yeah. So why did Steam why? I don't know why this benefits. Who does this benefit? I think that's what I'm asking.
It's a really interesting question because we'll never know. And that's part of the design of Steam, right? It's a black box. We don't know what their content moderation policies are. We don't know. I'm assuming with 18,000 games released in a year that the majority of it is an algorithm or AI based.
Indeed.
Maybe it's down to people reporting it on an individual basis. One person took umbrage with it in the company. That's the answer. Is a human being saw this and decided it wasn't right, and there's no manager to speak to there. There's no one to call up and say, let me speak to your supervisor. It doesn't exist. One person deemed it wasn't allowed. They doubled down, and that's how it works there.
There was another game that launched last month called No Players Online. I don't know if you heard about this.
Yes, I was going to mention this.
Because, they...
Wait, is that not on Steam anymore?
It got taken down.
It's back.
There was a game on my wish list that had gone, and I was like, oh, I wonder what that game was. And I couldn't work it out.
It's No Players Online. It is back now. What happened to them was that someone that I think that the way they put it is a friend of theirs who they had a falling out with, who, by their account, did not work on the game, but was aware of the game, made what is the acronym? DMCA. I was going to say DMCA. I was close. DMCA claim. Made a DMCA claim against them that basically resulted in the game being pulled from sale for the first 2 weeks, which are the vital 2 weeks for an indie game.
Holy fuck.
And the fact is, it's not about this person who made this claim. That's not the point. People are always going to do stuff like that. The point is that you can be so trapped in the algorithm of trying to get just a human being to look at and take seriously your counterclaim when something like that happens, that you can, it was a very effective way of tanking that game's launch that just one person can do if they take exception. And like I say, people are going to do that, but you have to have a better system, a more robust system for dealing with it than that. But you don't have to have a better system when you're the monopoly. That's the thing.
Yeah. There's no competition.
Yeah.
I'm literally buying it right now. I don't think this is the first time I've done this on the pod. I'm doing it right now. I honest to God, saw a blank space on my wish list saying this game has been removed. And I was like, what do you do? How do I find this game again? I have so many fucking games on my wish list. That's awful.
That's the thing, right? Because we're so embedded in the ecosystem. If it doesn't launch on Steam, if Steam decides that's not going to happen.
And there was no way I could find it.
Yeah.
No. And like you were saying, the reason why Horses has gotten so much publicity is because, understandably, I think they were able to reach out to their media contacts and get write-ups about it. But how many times has this happened where they don't have that privilege?
Well, exactly. I mean, I do think they did exactly the right thing by people, obviously it's caused people to get quite up in arms about it, but they did exactly the right thing by reaching for the worst case scenario and making that very public straight away.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do think that was the right call in terms of both transparency, just because transparency is good in basically every situation I can think of. More honesty would always be the best policy, funnily enough. That is generally a rule to live by. But, also the fact that just by being so upfront about it and by being like, this is everything that's happened, this is everything that we think about it, this is everything that we're trying to do about it, and this is still happening, it just did get attention, which is also, when you're suddenly worried that your game is not going to shift nearly as many units as you need it to keep your studio going. Just making sure you get that attention is also, cynically or not, a good move in addition to being a pro-social move. Sure. Honesty is great, but, also
agreed.
The best they could do under the circumstances. And it seems to have hopefully worked for them. So, yeah.
So I think that was a really important conversation that we haven't had on the podcast this year. And I'm glad that we have. And it sort of leads me into one question that I didn't put in our show notes, but I was just wondering what we felt about it as a question. Okay. I think it's fair to say that games media this year has once again taken a kicking. We've seen sites shut down. We've seen a lot of writers leave the industry. I'd like to know how we feel about the role we've played this year and what we're doing in this tiny little corner. Like, how do we feel about the things we're covering and the way we're covering things? Like, do we feel like, I mean, the answer is yes, but do we feel like this is an important service that we're providing? Because I do genuinely think that as shit gets worse, we are here. And like, I think these episodes are always interesting to me because I think it's the most negative we ever are.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
but
true.
It's how we get the bile out, and then we do the lovely Christmas episode with Game of the Year. It's a
Correct.
tradition now, is we do the one, like, we do the 90 minutes of just frustration and anger that we need to get out of the way before we come back in with happy Game of the Year things.
Well, I think as well, we approach everything with such positivity and love that I don't know. I just think, like, I'm really pleased that the way we do it is, like, if something's really bad and we want to call it out, we always do. But in the majority of time, we sort of just like focus on the art and the humans behind it, and just say, like, this is a cool thing. We're having fun with this, and this is what we want to talk about. But yeah, you look like you might have something to ponder with us, Rachel.
I've been thinking about this for a while. There's a comment I made to you guys. I can't remember if it was on the episode or not. And I was like, I don't know whether to play Hades 2 or Silk Song in time for our Game of the Year because my argument for playing Silk Song was like, because we'll cover more games. And my relationship with this podcast has interestingly changed a little bit. I think before, where I was writing about these games actively and, like, you know, Indieventure wasn't just the one place I would talk about a game. I'd put it in an article, I'd write about it for a website. But now those opportunities are just straight up vanished. I feel sometimes a little pressure, not from the podcast, but just from my own, I want to support indies. I feel like because this is now the only outlet when I get to talk about indies in any sort of depth because of the state of the industry, I feel like I could have done more. Do you know what I mean? Not in a bad way. I'm not in a pressuring way.
No, I totally get what you're saying.
But in a way of, like, I could have spoken about this game. I could have talked more about this game instead of yapping on about this is a joke. Instead of yapping on about the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, I could have hired an indie instead. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
It's almost like I feel like I look back on the episodes of the year and I'm really happy with what we've done. And I am really happy with that output. But there's always a part of me that's like, yeah, but could you have talked about this game? Could you? Sometimes in our Discord comments, it is interesting where, I don't know, I haven't seen one in a while, where one of us will say, oh, I played this passing. And someone in the Discord will be like, oh, I didn't even know you played this. Like I would love to hear you talk about it. And then it makes me feel like, fuck, maybe I should have. Like, I don't know. That's the only thing about the industry at the moment. My relationship to this podcast has changed. I feel like that comment I made is indicative of my mindset. Like, yeah, okay, Silk Song and Hades 2 do not need any sort of talk, but it is when the games that I decide to talk about on the podcast is very much of that mindset of like, oh, I should talk about this, or like, I have enjoyed this, but maybe I should talk about this a bit more. Like, it's just something I think about now because I just don't get to do that anywhere else. And that fucking sucks.
I know exactly what you mean, because I literally would have said something very similar if I had elected to talk first. I kind of look at everything that I cover and I go, like, you know, trying not to beat myself up, I'll be like, these are the, you know, solo dev indies that, like, pretty much no one had heard of before I talked about them on the podcast. And I'm really happy that I talked about that, but I'm like, could I have done more? Would it have made more sense to find another 3 of these games instead of talk about blueprints again? And then, like, you sort of like, and another thing is, we're probably deep enough into the podcast that I can just say this without worrying too much about repercussions. So no one dob me in, okay? At the moment, in my day job, I am no longer allowed to do editorial work. I cannot write anything opinion-based. I can't even do news anymore. It's guides all the time. That's all that I have remit to do. So basically now, the podcast is also the blog as well is my only outlet for the actual thoughts that I have. Even though I still work in games media, I'm still employed under IGN. I can no longer actually express any of my opinions through my work. And so it becomes a thing where like the podcast is somewhere that I come and I talk about everything. And like, especially on the blog, I'll be like, I want to talk about fucking, my stupid gacha games or Ace Attorney or something. And the blog becomes the place where I put that. And then even though that's not taking time out of the podcast, I feel a bit of guilt about that because I'm like, it's so far outside of our remit, and sure, we're just having fun. But again, that's another bit of space I could have taken up with something that people hadn't heard of. And yeah, it's definitely this like intersection of where the industry's at and just how much there is to do, and my own neuroticism, which is probably coming across right now. But it is just this, this fact that it's like, the tension has always existed between the fact that this is a podcast that we do for fun in our free time. We're not making money off this. We just like doing it. And therefore we do have this freedom to kind of do what we want. And we don't have to worry too much about SEO trends. We don't have to be like, we need to chase the big games. But at the same time, we don't have that pressure to really highlight the smaller games, which is something, again, we could be doing. We don't have to. I don't know. For about 51 weeks of the year, I just talk about whatever I like. And then for 1 week, I get intensely guilty about whether I talked about the right things, which is what we said last time as well. As we were saying, Liam put it really well. It's like, did we play the right games this year? And did we talk about the right ones that we played?
Yeah, it's like I'm laughing at that comment, but also crying.
Yeah,
it's oh my God.
Exactly.
It encapsulates it perfectly.
And the reason why is because I feel it too, right? Like I think I'm I'm really pleased you both said this, because I think a lot of people probably feel like this in the industry. But I think my situation is obviously weird because I haven't been in games media for over 2 years now. But there's almost part of me that feels like, well, I've got to contribute somehow. And then this is also my only place to do this. And I also feel the pressure. But then I also feel a bit like I've got stolen valor and an imposter again, because I'm like, well, do I have the right to do this? Like, am I just like, if I'm not fully embedded in it? And it's a very, but it's just indicative of the entire landscape, right? Everyone's probably feeling like this. We all just want to champion things in the way we want to champion it in an industry that isn't letting us do that. While at the same time, like, we also want to have a bit of fun and hang out with our friends, right? It's like, I mean, I think as the fact that we show up and do it, I think we've done really well this year to do that. But I do sometimes we do like an episode that's like all like unhinged nonsense. And I'm like, well, it's another 2 weeks now until we talk, like, we add quote unquote nutritional value back in, but people like that. I think people like that balance. I think we could do a podcast where every week we jump on a microphone for an hour and a half and we talk about games we played that week. I think it would make us miserable, to be completely honest.
I was just going to say, it's a coping mechanism. Right? It's a way to keep us in the game. It's like, we need the bullshit. We need it so bad. Otherwise it literally would be a grind.
It is kind of like the sad thing is, this is why people get into games media. Games media didn't make us like this. We were people dying to talk about video games with someone.
100%.
And then funneled through games media and back out to this rather than this, like, funnily enough, we didn't get into it for the money or the fame or how like nice people are to you online. It was definitely because we were trying to have that outlet about a thing that we're passionate and knowledgeable about. And I think it's really worth saying. One thing that's coming across in both the dev side and the media side of the games industry this year is that it's independent creators who are kind of like trying to carry the whole lot on our backs and feeling really guilty about all the things we're not managing to do, which is just so typical of where the whole thing is at. Sorry, I can't stop bringing this conversation down. I do apologize.
No,
I'm having a good time, I promise.
I think that was important to say.
Yeah, and I find it very reflective. I don't find it negative at all.
No.
It's a little thought. It's just like a thought experiment, kind of just like, it's interesting how, as the industry changes, how our relationship to indie games and how we talk about them changes. And I find that interesting, a little bit, I don't know. It's just, I don't find it sad. But we're still here. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
We are. Hell yeah. We're not going anywhere.
Right. Who's going to stop us from doing this? Who's going to stop us?
No one's paying us. Right? We're not making any money from it. No, we don't. No one holds us accountable. Only God holds us accountable, as far as I'm concerned.
Hell yes.
So with that, is there anything else you want to say about this year, or are we happy to move on to section 2?
I just think, like, I know it's tough, but hang in there, guys, and like,
yeah, agreed.
Whatever the big money holders do, we can still make cool stuff and make communities and talk about art and have a good time together. And that is, you know, I get everyone's got to eat and got to put a roof over their heads, and it's difficult, but you can still do that. So
yeah, you will die, but your art will live forever.
Not quite where I was going. I was going to go more like...
Let's leave it on that.
No, I think superseded by Rachel's precise summary.
But like, the act of creating shit is cool as fuck. Like, it's great.
It's what makes us human.
Yeah. Do not let AI take it from you. Like,
AI can't. AI can never stop you drawing Sonic with a nice bum. Nothing can stop you from doing that.
And you know what? The worst drawing of Sonic with a nice bum that a human drew in their passion for Sonic's bum. Better
no AI
anything
could
you'll get out of a machine.
Right.
No.
Nah,
so
AI doesn't know.
It would lack the flame that motivated the creation in the first place.
Yeah.
100%.
I think that's what we should end it.
Section 2.
Sonic's bum, everybody.
Woo! How many questions do we have for section 2? We're on 1 hour 30. We can do section 2.
That's actually not too bad.
Yeah, sure.
How many have you got?
No, maybe 2 or 3. I'm just gonna stop recording. I'm gonna just nip to the loo. It'll be 2 seconds.
Yeah, all right.
You go. Go piss girl. Oh, he's gone.
Oh, he's gone.
Damn! Fuck! No! No, Liam, come back! I need
he
to
might
say
still
one
have his
thing.
headphones, but I hope that he doesn't.
Oh, that was such a good convo.
That was a really good conversation. I do always feel like this one does get very ranty, but at least we're not arguing with each other, and also it's like...
Yeah, like I
think we need it.
I
think before we go up for Game of the Year, we need to...
Y'all read?
I'm sorry.
Fuck, you actually got me.
Oh my god.
So, I'll tell you what, for starters, this bit was funnier before we had the really honest, nice chat.
No, I think we're all...
Oh no, what is this? Oh no!
It's the... I'll tell you what.
I believe
just to use my normal voice for a second. Yeah, I can't even tell you how funny this was before we had that serious chat, and now the vibes feel very off. But to get back into it, y'all read? Now, sorry to hijack. My voice broke. Sorry to hijack. Now, you might think, oh, Santa's here, because it's the Christmas episode, and that's what we do, right? Or you do, I guess. But unfortunately, Santa couldn't make it this year. So I am, as everyone remembers, I'm sure you do, Rachel, I've never seen you look more betrayed.
I'm so confused. I'm aghast.
I am obviously a beloved returning guest to the podcast, Mike the Geordie, who... you never interacted with 2 years ago, but you heard my voice.
Yes.
And I've been sent here by Santa. Unfortunately, Santa is predisposed this year. He couldn't make it. But he sent me. I've recently taken on a job as an elf in Santa's workshop, you see. You know, it's troubling times, and I thought I'd have a bit of a career shift.
God, my mum's going to love this. She's obsessed with your accent, and now it's just...
Well, here it is even stronger. Yoni Pet, I was tricked. So, as is, I'm so thrown off by the last hour and a half, but I'm going to just try and push through this, and let me tell you, it gets worse. As we know, Santa, he fucking hates Liam. He doesn't want him around, and he waits every year to exact revenge. But as I say, he's been trapped in the North Pole for reasons undisclosed. So he sent me to try and get rid of him. The thing about Liam is that Santa was pulling a bit of a prank on him, you know, last year when he hit him with a car and stuff and stole his organs. he was giving him reindeer laxatives for quite a long time, and it got to the point where Liam got used to them. So when Santa tasked me with disposing of Liam, I don't want to kill him. I've got no fucking beef with that lad, But I was gonna like maybe lace some biscuits with the laxatives or whatever. But when I broke into the house holding the laxatives, he ripped them from my hand and downed them before you started recording. So I've been sat in the corner the whole time, and he's gone off, I presume, to have the biggest shit of his life. But I'm here now. So all I've been told to do by the big man is 3 things. 1, dispose of Liam. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, done for at least 20 minutes. 2, do some kind of quiz, which I've written. And 3, the most regrettable part of this is apparently there was a precedent set last year about some kind of introduction song.
Oh my God.
So I'm just going to pop a file into the Discord.
Stop! Oh my God!
I want you to, when it's there, I want us all, I'm going to count down from 3.
Okay, I've got it. This is fucking incredible.
It's over 3 minutes long.
Yeah, well, let's not think about that until we've heard it through. But I think we should all, when I count down from 3, okay. I'll go 3, 2, 1, go. And then I want you to press play, and it'll launch us into this regrettable feature. So 3, 2, 1, go.
Go. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Fucking hell.
Hey, Mr. Santa Kim, I were here to give me his pod duties, but it's way too cold up here in the pole for me to do a host kidnapping. So I said I'll do the show, but you have to know I'm gonna talk about the Wii.
What do you mean you're going to talk about the Wii, Michael?
Listen, Santa, like, this is your fight with Liam. I just want to talk about the Nintendo Wii, you know what I mean?
That's fine, but, like, you've got to kill him. He needs to die for his crimes.
I slipped Liam some pills, they've made him super ill. That should satisfy old Saint Nick. Now I guess there's time to spare for indie games I do not care. I'm gonna talk about the Wii. Santa Claus is stuck at home, house arrest, he slapped at gnome. The Christmas episode falls on me, but all I care about is the Wii. Runny bum bum.
I just got to the runny bum bit.
Runny bum, runny bum, runny.
Oh God, I've got to get out of here. I'm never going to make it for the rest of the pod.
I'm glad I'm not a gnome this Christmas.
I can't breathe.
What are you doing here? What are you doing here, young man? Who sent you? Did he send you?
No
Did Liam send you? I'm going to slap the ever-loving shit out of you.
Right, listen, here's the sitch. I ain't Santa's wipe. That old prick don't speak for me. But he needed help, best it wasn't help, and my probation is on the way. So I stuck my hand up and I said, consider Mike the Geordie.
I mean, it's a really simple job, Michael. All you need to do is make a poorly themed indie quiz to keep Rachel and Rebecca distracted while you murder Liam in some kind of slightly humorous way.
I know that and all, but like, I just want to talk about Nintendo's 7th gen console at the same time. Runny bum bum, runny bum, runny bum, runny bum.
There's no way Rachel's gonna leave this bit in the air.
Fuck you.
I'm fucking not a gnome this specific Christmas. Mario, Zelda, Wii Sports 2. I hope you've revised for motion controlled fun. Santa Claus is stuck at home, awaiting trial in a court of gnomes.
Oh, God damn it.
I've made a quiz about the Nintendo Wii, in case that wasn't obvious from the song, like, you know. And also, I understand I've said a lot about gnomes in this. I've got nothing against gnomes in particular. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like at the moment, when Santa's having, I'll let the trumpets finish. I just feel like when Santa's, like, abusing them and that, you know, it's probably best to, well, not abusing, assaulting is probably the right word to use. I just feel like I wouldn't specifically want to be a gnome when the big man's got a bit of a vendetta. The song's over now. I can just go back to saying this on the podcast live. I'll read. Thanks.
Oh my God.
Incredible. Right?
How dare you? This is official pee-pee poo-poo time now.
Oh,
I
God.
can't cut it out. You've got it around my rule.
Jesus. Oh, stop.
It was so fucking
recording
good.
that, Yoli just kept texting me and being like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Shut up! Stop listening in."
The reverb is so fucking
It's really good. That must have been so much work.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so hot. I'm so sweaty.
I know, me too.
Oh, God,
I
Jesus.
don't know why I do this.
Oh my God. Wow.
It's a
There's just nowhere
sickness.
else on the
just
internet for
can't-
these kind of creative outlets.
I just can't believe how much you fooled me. And I'm like, because like 3 days ago,
Me
you were
too,
like,
I'm not over it.
Can I do a weird thing on the podcast? And we were like, sure. And then I went
Oh,
away
I
and forgot
forgot
about it.
about
And then
that.
today you were like, oh, I didn't really prepare anything. Can we just do some listener questions? And I believed you. And then you were like, I just need to go to the loo. And I believed you again.
There's us as well going, we're at an hour and a half. Should we just...
You're so
Should we wrap it up?
devious. I've never known you this devious. Rachel's leaving. Rachel's
Yeah,
leaving.
Rachel's gone. I'm going to the Santa hat for starters because that's just too warm.
It's hot. Oh my
I
God.
know. I've got my
Jesus.
blanket over my legs. That's going.
I
That's going.
just want to, before I go back into character, I just want to make a comment about Rachel, you earnestly saying that whenever we're not talking about new indies, you feel guilty, and then making you sit through 3.5 minutes of that is maybe the cruelest thing I've ever done to you. Well, AI could never.
Oh God.
No, you know
AI
what I
could
think?
She could never.
We all needed this, I think.
Oh
So,
God.
Right.
Oh
So,
actual workout.
God, Jesus. Wait, no, I've got a
Liam's-
quiz.
now
Now I have
there's
to
a
answer quiz questions.
Don't worry, it's only 5 questions. It's almost like the song came first.
Okay. Oh
Right.
God.
I just need to drink
It's-
water for a second.
Cooperative between the two of you. There's only
Okay.
5 questions. I'm not that cruel, don't worry.
Oh God.
And also, presuming of how intense the laxatives are, I don't think we've got that much time before Liam will be back
Oh my God.
on the podcast. Right. Is this a tradition that should happen every year? We'll see. Email. Don't
Yes.
email. I'm not.
No.
Right. So,
I just cut you off in the edit. Email at no.
Nope.
No.
Mike the Geordie at AOL.net. So, question 1. What was the
Okay.
internal code name Nintendo
Jesus.
used for the Wii before it received its final name? Was it A, Dolphin, B, Revolution, C, N64-3, or D, the Nintendo Poo? I got a bigger laugh out of Rachel than the 3.5 minute song I made.
Thrown off now because I was trying to take it seriously, and now.
Wait. I don't know. What were they again?
Was it?
Not the dolphin.
Hold on, yeah, go again.
Dolphin,
No.
Revolution, N64-3, or the Nintendo Poo?
Right, I don't.
Revolution or N64-3. Sure.
I don't know. I want to interject with the fact that Dolphin is one of the consoles in Videoverse, but I don't know if that
Yes.
means that that's where
Yes.
Liam got it from for the answers list, or if that's where Lucy got it from for Videoverse. So
Oh.
that's the best I can do for this, because I don't know.
Let's go dolphin. If that's true, that's legit. That's cool. Let's do that.
So it's incorrect. Dolphin was the working name for that GameCube.
Okay, that
Sorry,
makes sense.
GameCube.
GameCube. Aye, the GameCube. You know, the purple box that had Luigi's Mansion on it. The answer is actually Revolution.
Nice. Rachel, you got it.
No, we're a team for now and forever.
No one got it. 0 points. But Liam's life's not on the line this time. So, question 2.
Okay.
How many consoles did Nintendo manage to sell throughout their Wii's lifespan from 2006 to 2013? And I'm looking for a ballpark figure from about 5 million units either side. I'm enjoying doing this accent. I should do it more
just
often.
Straight into it. Like, wow.
100 million, 10 million, 20 million.
All of them.
50 million. What is reasonable? What?
I honestly, when you get into
like
high numbers like this is where my ability to do numbers ceases quite dramatically. Once there's a lot of zeros.
It's $1 billion.
It sold no copies. I'm actually going to take your first answer. My voice keeps breaking like I'm going through puberty again when I do this accent. You were right the first time. Your first answer of 100 million, it was 101 million. So you were just what you thought was too much was actually a lot.
So you're being very generous. Thank you.
You did start by saying 100 million, to be fair.
Okay.
1 point. Question 3. Selling a whopping 82.9 million copies, Wii Sports was easily the best-selling game on the platform. But what was the second best-selling game?
Ooh. Will it be like... Hang on.
Oh, I know. It's Viva Pinata 2. Final answer. Wait, do we get options? Wait.
No options. I love that. I love the not caring joke answer, but then immediately caring. That's a very specific energy.
I think we can get this one. I think
I was trying to work it out. It's usually a Mario Kart or a something
Galaxy
in that. Oh, it could be Super Mario Galaxy. That.
Wii Sport. Oh, Wii Fit. No,
I don't see. No, Wii Sport.
No one played that. I played that.
I know Wii Sport is up there because it was bundled with the console, so it's actually really controversial to say that it's one of the best-selling video games of all time, because whenever it's on a list, it gets a big asterisk next to it, and then they're like, but they put it in with the console, so who'd have bought
That is the best-selling one. That's number 1. I'm looking for number 2.
Yeah.
It's got. I think Galaxy might be Super Mario Galaxy.
Super Mario Galaxy is the best one I can think of off the top of my head.
Not Viva Pinata.
You should be. I mean, infamously, Viva Pinata never released on a Wii, but Mario Kart Wii is the second best-selling game. Your
Mario Kart
reaction was right.
Talk myself out of it.
37 million units, but no points for you both, because the real answer was Viva Pinata 2. Number 4, the highest rated Wii game has a solid 96 score on Metacritic, but can you guess what it is from this user review, which scored it 0 out of 10, which I won't read in the Geordie voice. Why everybody loves this fucking stupid game? I consider Game as the worst series name game, and one of the worst games I've ever played. Game has the dumbest character, his plot is horrible, has an awful soundtrack, and his controls are ... I don't recommend this game. This game is too boring, and this game has a bad mouth flavour, which is how I'm going to start describing games from now on.
Bad mouth flavour, damn.
This game is Shigeru Miyamoto's biggest error, and I do not recommend it. That's why I prefer other games in the series. Worst Wii game and worst game ever made.
Holy fuck.
Wow.
Brilliant bit of criticism there, though. I mean, absolutely astonishing.
Mouth flavour.
A series that was shit on the Wii. Zelda?
Yeah, I was thinking Zelda.
What did Shigeru Miyamoto do? I don't fucking know.
Can I just say, I really what's the word I'm looking for? I really misjudged how much you two were familiar with the Wii. I assumed a little bit more.
Fucking love the Wii.
I have one.
I was all up in the Wii. I was entering those competitions for Miiverse. Was it?
Me Parade.
Me Palace? Me Parade!
Yes.
Fucking loved Me Parade.
Oh, man.
I had the Weather Channel. I was all up in that shit.
I used to check the Weather Channel every day. Side note, which I'll keep doing as Mike the Geordie for some reason, if you subscribe to Nintendo Online on the Switch, you get access to the Nintendo Music app, which is what they've done, seeing as though they've took down all their music from YouTube. You've now got to have a dedicated app. But it has all the music from those apps, from the Wii on there.
Oh, it's so funny. I downloaded that the other day because there's a playlist that plays you the Animal Crossing New Horizons music at the appropriate times of day. So I actually got that the other day.
Incredible.
For that.
It's good stuff.
Is it a Zelda game?
It is not.
What other series? I guess there's Mario. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, so it's also the highest rated game.
Yes, 97 on Metacritic, the highest rated Wii game.
Is it too lazy if I go back to Super Mario Galaxy? Just because I know it.
And it could be Galaxy. Wait, let's have a think.
What else is there?
I mean, it should be Smooth Moves, but it's not going to be Smooth Moves.
Correct. It should be Smooth Moves, but
because that is a series which has another character from the universe that isn't normally a character in the series.
Go with you.
I don't know.
Go with your gut.
Oh, Galaxy. Should we go Galaxy, Rebecca?
Yes, it's Mario Galaxy. Well done. Final question. Rabbids TV Party, released in 2008.
Yes!
Oh, good.
Now we're talking. Was the third game in the Rabbids series, which was hugely successful on the Wii. One mini-game saw famous pop songs re-recorded by the Rabbids. But which of the following was not included in the game?
I got this. Rebecca, I got this. I got this, girl. I'm locked in.
Rachel. It's all you.
Britney Spears, Toxic. Queen, Another One Bites the Dust. Amy Winehouse, You Know I'm Not Good. Umbrella by Rihanna.
I don't know this one. I know it. I don't think it was Umbrella by Rihanna. Oh, it could be. That's very of the time. Toxic for sure. What was the second one for sure? What was the second one, babes?
Queen, Another One Bites the Dust.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Amy Winehouse, You Know I'm No Good.
The thing is, when I played it, I think I don't know. I think it's one of the last two. It's either Rihanna or...
I didn't play
I don't think Amy Winehouse.
My gut says Amy Winehouse was not the right... Yeah.
That's rogue, but it is Rabbids.
That's true.
And if you've not heard these before, they are heinous. If you thought that the Sims redubbins were a bit, off, these things are fucking rank.
At least the Sims, they actually do get the original artist to re-record it, not, auto-tune.
That's funny.
Like when they got the Black Eyed Peas to do the Arsler in...
oh, fuck yeah!
In Simlish.
Yeah, they did.
I don't know if Queen Rihanna would...
Rachel, this one was in your wheelhouse. You are correct.
Yes!
All right.
Reet. Okay. So as you can probably tell, 99% of my effort for this went into the song, which I spent hours doing on Monday, and the quiz itself I did in 20 minutes before we started recording.
Fuck yeah.
Yes.
But that is me done. So thanks for having us. And before I leave, I've got 3 little Christmas music observations for you. Because I'm in the North Pole now, and I hear a lot of Christmas music. The pipe is up there all the fucking time. It does me nothing. A job's a job. So here's 3 things I've learned from listening to Christmas songs. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Why does he say that they say scary ghost stories? It's not the time of year to say scary ghost stories, but he says it like it's a Christmas tradition. You say scary ghost stories and you tell tales of Christmases long, long ago. Who's telling ghost stories? Well, I guess Christmas Carol. I guess I've answered myself that now, actually. That's quite a big Christmas one about ghosts. Anyway, point 2. In the Elton John song, Step Into Christmas, I like that he introduces you to the song and the genre. He says, "Welcome to my Christmas song." I just think more songs should do that.
That's quite nice.
I just think it's polite. And number 3, in Deck the Halls with Boughs of Holly, I really appreciate that by chorus 2, it's just a bunch of people demanding you give them dessert with increasing severity. And they're my 3 Christmas song.
Wow.
Things I've noticed. Right, I'm off.
Love
I reckon
that.
Liam's done shitting now. I'm sure you're all happy that returning character Mike the Geordie is here.
Thank you,
and
Mike.
Not Santa.
Thank you, Mike. I'm genuinely going to be delighted. It's going to be great.
Have a good one, Mike.
Thanks. I probably will die on my way back to the North Pole, and you probably will never see me again. I feel like we're retiring this.
No, friend of the podcast, Mike the Geordie, no.
No, I think this character had very little potential the first time, and this has proven no more after this. Right, off I pop. Bye.
Bye, Mike.
I guess we can't talk him out of it.
Hi both of you. Sorry for that. I had to go and do a gnarly shit. But unfortunately, we don't have time for any listener questions, so I guess we should move on to hyperfixation.
Oh my god, just watching Rachel die inside thinking about this edit has been...
Well, you know what? It's the pee-pee poo-poo time, Rebecca. I'm not over the deliberate and blatant disrespect to pee-pee poo-poo time. a law in this land which I have put forth.
Apologies.
No talking about the death of media literacy. No saying death of the author. And no pee-pee-poo-poo talk.
Pee-pee-poo-poo talk.
We have 3 rules.
That's all I want.
Well, I guess we did manage to talk a little bit about media literacy, so maybe I should be given a free pass this time, question mark?
Question mark.
Can I say, when I recorded that song, when I first did it, and first of all, I'm not on time whatsoever, and it's quite hilarious if you listen to how off time I am.
It's
while
incredible.
I was singing it.
It was
but the second thing is the original pass of it was just the singing, and it was awful. There was just so much dead air. It really makes you realise as to how much is instrumental in that song when you're doing a parody version. Hence why there was all the skits that I shoved in there to try and make it into something.
I also enjoyed the skits. Yeah. It really gave like a depth to the scene. I felt like I was like in the moment.
Yeah, I was actually quite swept up in the narrative.
So present. Yeah.
Excellent. I was very happy with my Norm voice edit. Okay, hyperfixations. Who wants to go first?
I'll go. Mine's a quickie. So, on Thinky Games, we launched something called Thinky Dailies today on December 4th. I would just like to talk about it a little bit. Thinky Games, we've got so much shit going on. Not only have we got the Thinky Awards going on, we've now launched Thinky Dailies, which is a puzzle game that you can play each day. So you can log into your account on Thinky Games and you can just play a daily puzzle. And it's really fucking cool. And I'm so proud of the team for what they've done. And it's really fucking good. It's like, if you're into like daily puzzles, like whatever, I'm not into them, like Wordle or whatever. This is different. Not only is it a different kind of puzzle each day, there's also kind of like a story about our main character, our mascot, but he has a little story in there. And there's like a wider cinematic universe of the Thinky mascot. And yeah, it's really well made and really well done. I'm so proud of it. So yeah, if you are a daily puzzle person, I would advise that you sign up to Thinky Games. You need to sign up because that's how it keeps track of everything. You can do it on browser, on your phone. Like, it's great. I love it so much. I'm so proud of the team, especially Luis, who's been working on it for a couple of years as project manager, and also Joe as well, who does all things Thinky, but he contributed so much. I've heard them talk about it for like literally years behind the scenes of like talking about Thinky Dailies and like even like them thinking of the name to how it's going to look and like even a little look at some of the puzzles. So we've done this fun thing as well. So to sign up, you have to solve a riddle. And even that is very much like...
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, you have to like, it's just like a little visual puzzle that you have to like work out what it says and then you can sign up. But yeah, I'm really proud of it. I'm so happy with the team. So yeah, Thinky Dailies. It's on thinkygames.com/dailies. It's everything you need to know. Give it a look. And if you don't like it, stick around because it just might be that puzzle for the day. And the next day you might get a different puzzle. So it's all good. So yeah, that's mine. Very quick.
It's awesome.
I need to check it out. I was doing Puzzmo for quite a while. So I'm interested
That's another one.
Yeah, I'm interested in doing this because it looks very different and very interesting. But just to show you how bad my puzzle brain is, I was stuck on a puzzle in Blake Manor, which I'm going to say the solution to because it's so fucking obvious. But there's a safe in the stables.
Yes.
You remember this? Did not know the combination, could not find it anywhere. I had to Google it. It's written on the wall next to the safe.
Tell you what, girl, I had exactly the same issue.
Yes.
I'm here to vindicate you. I'm here to 100% vindicate you.
Thank you.
Because I also was looking for it for ages, and it was like, and it kept saying, I gotta check out the stable. I've gotta check out the stable. And I was like, right, I'm gonna look at everything in this stable. And it literally is like just written on the back, on the wall in the back.
Just on the wall.
So I'm the same as you.
Is there a hint system? Because I had to Google it and just find a hint.
So there's not
online.
a hint system, but you know in the spider diagrams, you can click on the connection points.
Oh,
so when you click on that, and sometimes he's like, I should check room 44, or I should check this room. And mine, like the one for that one is, I should check the stables. And I was like, right, I will fucking check the stables then. And I was like literally looking. And that's how I found it. But I was same as you, vindicated.
Okay, good. All right, I will go on puzzle thinky daily for sure.
You'll be fine.
I will quickly jump in with my hyperfixation because mine is also super quick. I watched a video before we started recording the podcast called "Greed is Destroying the World" by Drew Gooden. If you don't know Drew Gooden, he's a very, very good internet, I wouldn't say commentator. He just does he's either reviewing a bad movie or he's talking about the downfall of civilization. You might know him as the guy from Vine who said, "Road work ahead, I sure hope it does," which led to my favourite comment on that video, which said, "I'm being radicalised by the road work ahead guy at 3 p.m. on a Monday." But there's nothing in there that I think a lot of our listeners will find new, but sometimes it's nice to sort of see someone just compress the current way that we approach society in just a very concise way, to just be like, have we thought about how dumb this is? And class solidarity is all I want for Christmas. So tax the billionaires. And it's a good video to watch. And also Drew Gooden in general, just a good subscribe. Drew Gooden, Chad, these sort of modern internet people, I would recommend it.
Well,
also, Rachel, you need to watch a channel called Memoria.
Okay, on it.
She did a video the other day called, what was it called? She's fantastic. She does a series actually that is kind of maybe interesting for what we've been talking about today.
I know this person.
You should come over. Yeah.
She does the dumpster dive of Steam games, right?
Yes, she does.
Oh, wow.
It's just what I talk about. She will go on, she'll look at one day of release on Steam and she'll buy whatever she thinks looks interesting and then she'll review them. And it's enlightening.
Oh, she did a video so interesting.
Barbie games the other week. That was very, very funny.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm on it.
She's so
good. Those Steam, we should link to she's done 2 now and they're both so interesting. We should definitely link. We should link to the first one she did because I found the most hardcore Barbie games ever made.
Yeah. She plays through the entirety of Barbie not Barbie Detective, Barbie Spy or something.
Oh my
Secret
God,
Agent Barbie.
That was my jam.
And
right, Rebecca, let's get on this.
Tomb Raider clone they did. But
testing the vibes of the Wii.
She's
Rachel,
so good.
can you share me that link, please, in the
I will,
Discord
right
so
now.
I can make sure to put it in
I'm doing it. Copy.
Thank you.
That is me. I'm watching YouTube.
Awesome.
Rebecca, what is yours?
So mine is, remember in the last episode I was like, I have found so many things to hyperfixate over in the last month.
Yes. Yes.
Luckily, I'm now just working through the backlog because we're recording so many things so close together. I don't have time to get obsessed with new stuff. But fortunately, this is just to explain why I am going to tell you about an album that came out a full month ago. Like it's the hot new thing that I have just discovered. I know I don't do very many musical hyperfixations, but there are 2 bands that I am always down to listen to. One is First Aid Kit, which I talked about a few episodes ago, and the other is the Mountain Goats, who have had a new album out in November.
Did they?
They have they have new albums out just about every year. It's impossible to keep. They are very prolific. This was their 24th album, which is wild.
Hell yeah.
But this is this one really caught my attention. It's called Through This Fire Across from Peter Balkan, which is a hell of a title. But there are a few points of interest I think you guys will like. One I should probably lead with for you guys is that Lin-Manuel Miranda is the backup singer for most of the songs on the album.
Hello. Okay.
So he's been a major collaborator with them for this whole thing. But the thing that I love about this particular, because I sort of drop in and out on their albums. I have a few from various points in their backlog that I'm obsessed with, but there are a few that I sort of skip over quite a bit. And not for any particular reason other than something caught my attention. But this one is one of the more sort of concept style albums that they've done in a while. And I tend to really like their concept stuff. So this is almost a musical more than an album on its own in a lot of ways. It tells the story of a shipwreck and the 3 initial survivors of a shipwreck. And eventually it's all told from the point of view of the one person who eventually survives to leave the island. It's that sounds like it's going to be really grim. It's actually really hopeful and upbeat. And you know how I love when a piece of fiction can both be carrying its literal message and its metaphorical message and can keep those in perfect balance equally through the whole production. That's one of my favorite things in media. And this absolutely does that because it is a full literal level. It is about the shipwreck. It is about how to survive in the wild. It genuinely has good survival advice in some of the songs. And it's like the extent it goes to. But also it's like definitely about the feeling of being overwhelmed by anxieties and by life and by your inability to sort of influence on a grander scheme the way that the world's moving when you're just one person. It's about the anxiety of like being in a very close-knit group of people and realizing that you're going to lose someone as well, and about how you come to accept the things that are happening and sort of like get through them with grace and humor and community. And I just think like it's a fantastic album, and the fact that you generally feel quite heartened listening to it, it's, you know, it's never really a bad time. It's never like a weepy sort of album. It's really, you know, there's a lot of, I'm not a very musical person, as I said before, but it's, you know, up tempo. It's quite dancey in a lot of places. In the sort of like folk kind of dancey area that I tend to occupy. But yeah, I totally recommend it. The songs that I'm particularly obsessed with at the moment are two of the singles, Cold at Night and Armies of the Lord, and also one of the songs from later on the album, Dawn of Revelation. It's all really good. It's just it's just like one that I keep going back and listening to, and it's good because I keep listening through the whole thing because it is meant to be like listened to tell a story, but I keep picking out like different, I'll wake up with a different one in my head every few days and then be like, oh, I'm going to pick this one out and like really think about this one. And yeah, it's a really good album. They're a really good band. I recommend them a lot. I recommend this new album. It's really, really something.
I'm so thankful you've praised that to me because I love the Mountain Goats.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
No Children in this year are like, and Up the Wolves as well, like some of my favourite songs of all time.
Up the Wolves is my favourite song. Just like,
it's
no
beautiful.
contest. But I also love No Children. You've just listed so many of my favourites. Yeah.
They're just great. They're like, I have a playlist called Ultimate Adult Sadness, which is like songs that are like, if I'm in a bad mood, they're like sad, angry songs that sort of like level me out. And I find the Mountain Goats are quite good for that in lots of ways because they're sort of just so raw and honest about like
absolutely
so many things.
I love Heel Turn 2 as well as another one of my favourites.
Great. Just the best.
Man.
So the album is about a group of people who go to an island and only one survives.
Basically, yeah. It's they're
kind
on a
of
fishing
like
boat and they get shipwrecked.
A battle royale.
Oh my god, Rachel. Nobody kills one another. I am reasonably
Did they
confident.
make the first Fortnite album? Is that what you're telling us?
I'm reasonably confident that nobody kills one another. But now I'm a little bit worried.
It's very Rebecca coded.
Very Rebecca coded.
I do actually. I was, as a teenager, I was like the kid who was obsessed with Lost and stuff. So there's a through line through my entire life. And you know what? I've still never watched season 6 because I was just it dropped off so hard. But it's
season 6 is alright.
Finish it.
The thing is, right? I've heard it's all right, but all right's not really selling me on sitting down to watch 24 episodes. To be honest.
Oh yeah, I always forget. You know what? We tried to rewatch. I must have said this on the podcast. Yeah, we tried to rewatch it a few years ago and watched 3 episodes and we're like, wow, there was a lot of filler back then, even in season 1. Like, these are from a different era.
Yeah. They don't make shows that long anymore, and it's probably for the best.
No, I agree. Just very quickly, we're talking about music. I think at the start of the year, one of my hyperfixations was a band called Blonde Shell. She's an individual, but she goes by the moniker Blonde Shell.
Yes, you did.
So I got my Spotify
Incredible
Wrapped
name.
yesterday, as most of us do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd listened to 64,000 minutes, which is 44 days, which just says a lot about how much I listen to music.
Wow.
But Blonde Shell was my top artist. I spent 4,000 of those minutes with her, which made me a 0.008% global fan.
Oh, wow.
And which actually, and then it said, I've never seen this on Spotify before, I'm the 305th top listener of her in the world.
What?
Incredible.
And she gets 900,000 monthly listeners, and I've never been like, so just as an update, that hyperfixation turned into a full-blown obsession over the course of this year.
That is fantastic.
Hell yeah.
Oh no,
not sure how I felt about that.
Now we're on Spotify Wrapped. Actually, Rachel, this will please you.
Tell me.
My top one was Masafumi Takada, who does the Danganronpa soundtracks.
Yes!
So there you go. It came back round in the end. You got it.
Oh, mine was, I think I took a screenshot. But my age was 23, by the way.
Oh, mine
Mine was 21.
Mine was like 56. Mine was so when we were at your wedding, Rachel and Ed were gently ribbing me about the fact that my musical taste skews a bit older than theirs, and as it turns out, yes, it does. I skewed to like two decades older, and you guys are like
mine was Von
younger.
Dutch, Rebecca Black, and
love that.
Kesha.
That's amazing.
Incredible.
And Kylie Minogue.
Yeah.
21, damn.
This is not going to make me sound less middle-aged, but I actually listen to way more podcasts than music on Spotify this year, like by a long way.
You know what? I've had a few people message me, Phil, who you met at the wedding, and my sister, to say that there was their top podcast for this year was Indieventure, and Ed as well. They were their top podcast this year.
Yeah!
But both Sarah and Phil were the top 2%, and Sarah was like, I listen to you on every dog walk I go to. Who's higher than me? So I'm not sure who is higher than that. But if you got more than the top 2% of a listener for our podcast on Spotify, let us know, because I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
And thank you if we were in your top 5. We appreciate you listening.
Yes, thank you.
So that brings us to the end of this here podcast. And, well, it certainly was an emotional roller coaster. There was highs, there was lows. There was more lows towards the end with whatever I did. And now we are here. But thank you.
Incredible.
As always, this is our Christmas episode. So a Merry Christmas to you all. And
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays. We will be back in a few days. From your perspective, with our Game of the Year episode.
What is it, Christmas Eve we're going to put it out? Did we say?
Oh, I don't know.
Sorry, someone filibust while I check.
Or I could just put it awkwardly in the edit.
No, it's coming out on the 22nd.
22nd, okay.
Neat. So yeah, they're very, very short amount of time. So yeah, it'll be like 4 days, I think.
See you in 4 days.
Yeah.
Which I think is the gap between us recording now and that episode.
It is.
Hell yeah. Love it.
It is. That's okay. This is going to be such an authentic experience for the listeners.
It really is.
Listen in real time.
Real time. Get ready for our Game of the Year episode. I've just dropped my wedding ring. I'll panic about that later. And after that, we'll be taking a short break for an undecided amount of time. But have a lovely winter period, no matter what you're doing. We really appreciate you, and bye.
Bye!
Bye! See you soon all!
Indieventure is a video games podcast created, produced, hosted and edited by Rachel Watts, Rebecca Jones and me, Liam Richardson. For more information, including a list of every game we mentioned in this episode, make sure to check out our website, indieventurepodcast.co.uk. You can get in touch by sending your questions, comments and feedback to contact@indieventurepodcast.co.uk. You can support the show by rating us 5 stars and leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or your preferred podcast provider of choice. Some of the games we talk about on the show may have been provided to us for free for review consideration. Our intro music and stings were composed for us by Ollie Newbury. Check the episode description to hear more of his excellent tunes. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks for another episode of Indieventure. Bye for now.